Alright, I think I'm just about done packing for this weekend at RTX. Got a bag with some shirts and stuff in it, bag of toiletries, soap and stuff, because you never know when you need soap. I'd say fairly regularly you're in need of soap. And I got pants. So yeah, I think I'm pretty well prepared for this upcoming weekend of sin, debauchery, and shame. Especially because of the pants. Hello everyone, and welcome to my recap of my recent trip down to Austin, Texas to attend the 2013 Rooster Teeth Expo. Me and a good number of my friends, many of whom you've seen in videos before, flew down there to hang out, socialize, attend the convention, drink some bevs, and make wonderful memories together. And as far as I know, it went well because I know that I had a good time. And hopefully you guys get a little enjoyment out of my recap, with varying photos and a little video to accompany it. So, let's get started. So the first day, which was July 4th, the day before the actual convention started, I flew down to Austin, met up with Dan and Paige, who was the female in our group, met with them at the airport, we got in a taxi, and we drove over to the hotel. And it's at the hotel where I first met Mike and Peyton in person. And we all just kind of hung out. I got to know them because it was my first time meeting everyone but Dan in person. We had some drinks. Occasionally someone would molest Dan. We were mainly just killing time until the fireworks started, because it's July 4th, something's gonna blow up. We just wanted to go find a nice place to find fireworks. So at a certain point, we headed out and wandered the streets trying to find a good vantage point to watch explosions in the sky.
I like me. High five. Boost, right here.
All right, drunk.
Fuck off. I'm gonna be making better videos because I'm getting a new computer. And you can all take that drunk talk to rest.
We eventually found our way to the rooftop of a hotel, of its parking garage actually, and until night fell, we were just making jokes, hanging out, talking with some of the other people, many of whom were also going to be going to RTX. And at one point, a group of girls actually started singing the national anthem, and it was very nice. From there, we went to 6th Street, which is right down the street from the convention center. It's basically this giant row of bars, as far as the eye can see, that gets closed off to traffic every weekend, and it just becomes chaos. It's people running around doing stupid stuff, getting drunk. It's a great place. So we decided to go to a barcade, which is a bar that has arcade machines in it. Unfortunately, many of them were kind of broken, but we tried playing some stuff, some TMNT. Dan found a Marvel vs. Capcom machine, so he was playing that. A lot of the group got down with their bad self, started boogieing. I am not a dancer, so I didn't. Although there was one guy having a great time wearing a horse mask, and that was pretty awesome. That was nice to see. But we just hung out in the bar, got some drinks, played a little arcade, and then headed back to the room. The next morning comes around, and my group is either hungover or, in my case, just dead tired, having gotten no sleep the night before. And it's really a pain to get 5 people, none of whom are feeling great, to get up and get ready to go for breakfast. Although at one point, Mike revealed that him and Peyton, while they were drunk, decided to go off on a little adventure on their own throughout the hotel. I don't know what they did. I don't think I want to know. But it involved them taking a bottle of Bacardi with them, and they lost it. I guess they had to hide it, but they put it under a seat somewhere in the hotel, and when they went back to try and find it that morning, it was just gone. So no one knows what happened to that Bacardi. Yet. So we all try to go get breakfast, and when we go down to the hotel to get their breakfast, it's super overpriced. So Mike, still kind of drunk, is just like, I'm not paying $17.50 for cereal, we're going somewhere else. So we go out on a walk, just trying to find some place to eat, and we come across Jimmy John's. So we went in, we got some sandwiches, and oh my god, their sandwiches are amazing. Mike got the gargantuan, and he just kept telling me that that Dan and I were idiots for not getting the gargantuan.
No, look at this shit. It's like 1.5 inches of meat, and there's just fucking cheese wrapped around that shit. You fucked up.
You're being so loud right now.
It doesn't matter.
So anybody who does not order the JJ Gargantuan
Fucked up. It should be the only sandwich they sell. It's fantastic.
Are you in heaven right now?
Now, once the time for the actual convention rolled around, Paige and I had the misfortune of standing in a 2-hour registration line in order to get our passes. So we waited this line, finally got to the front, and we got our passes. Now, when we got our passes, there was lines everywhere, everything was packed, so I didn't do anything specific. I kind of just wandered the hall and took a whole lot of pictures. They had the Tower of Pimps in front of an Achievement Hunter area. They had a main stage where the guys were doing tournaments and Let's Plays. There were a bunch of really cool displays, like some Lego people, Lego Iron Man, Superman, really cool paintings. It was just a really cool area to explore and to see what people had set up and what people were offering. But for the main important stuff that you would want to see at a convention like that, like meeting the guys, lines were ridiculous, and it was late in the day because we had to wait in that giant line, so there wasn't much to do. That was kind of all we did until nightfall. Once nighttime came around, it was time to go back to 6th Street, where we decided to go and play billiards at a nice little billiard hall. And apparently, as it turns out, I'm really good at billiards, except I scratch on the 8-ball every fucking time. So while I sunk a lot of balls, I actually lost every time. And we had some drinks, and we hung out. Dan and I decided to call it a night early. That was our plan, anyway. We're walking back to the hotel, and Dan wants a light for his cigarette, because he is a smoker. And we go to this group of 3 girls, and we ask them for a light. And at one point, they revealed to us that they had found a bottle of Bacardi in a hotel under a seat. What are the odds, right? So these are the girls that found the alcohol that Mike lost. Now, aside from that amazing coincidence, nothing else really happened with those girls. God bless Dan, he was trying his drunk little ass off to make something happen, but we're in an area full of horny, drunk assholes, so a group of them came over, and we were a lost cause from that point on. That big coincidence was kind of the major event of the night, and since any prospect of something happening further with that got shot down pretty quickly, I was like, I'm done, and wanted to call it a night, so I head back to the hotel. Dan, however, refused to go back that early, 1 in the morning, and when he did eventually get back, told me about how he'd met the most beautiful girl in the world, and soulmate, and all this crap, and he got her number, but nothing ever came of that, so for all I know, he was just hallucinating. The next morning, we wanted to go see the Achievement Hunter panel, but it was packed to capacity hours before it actually started, so there was no way we were getting in. So instead, we hit the town and tried to find some breakfast. We found this nice little place called Le Café Crepe, which sold crepes, although I got a croissant because I'm a rebel. And those were pretty good, and then we headed back to the convention center to see if we could find anything to do. Much like the day before, RTX was packed, and there wasn't really any chance to see something I'd want to see. So just to say that I went to something, I decided to go to the Halo 4 panel. I got in line, waited, there were some Spartans in front of me who were doing poses and other things. And yeah, I just kind of hung out in that line by myself. Ray from Achievement Hunter came in, took a mic, worked the line, was talking to people, and that was really neat. And then I went in and I saw the actual panel, which wasn't really all that entertaining, it was more informative, so it acted as a nice time killer. And naturally, while I was off wasting time, Dan was getting pictures with a bunch of people that you may recognize. So yeah, once again, Dan wins! Once we all met up again, we went back to the hotel room, And I was craving a JJ Gargantuan because Mike made it sound so good the day before. So I got some delivery and I got one ordered to the hotel, and that sandwich is amazing. It's one of the greatest things you'll ever put in your mouth. I promise. Go get one if you can. Jesus. Now, unfortunately, that sandwich caused a problem. Dan and I went back down to the convention hall in order to meet with scene nanners. We got in line. We were some of the first people in that massive line. We got there so early. And then the sandwich, the Gargantuan, decided it needed to evacuate. So I had a bathroom emergency and had to run off of the line. So Dan's the only one who got to meet scene nanners. At around 6 o'clock, Dan and I left the convention hall and met up with one of his old friends from his childhood, Preston, who now lives in Austin. And we just hung out at a bar and chit-chatted. We found a steampunk-themed bar, which, if you didn't know that, Dan has a major fetish for steampunk. Anything steampunk, he absolutely loves. So we hung out in there, and I had like 5 Jack and Cokes. And then we met up with the rest of the guys because we were going to go to the attendee mixer, where all the convention goers go to one place and hang out. And for some reason, only an hour after it started, it was closed off. So back to 6th Street we went, where we just found a bar, sat down, got some drinks, shot the shit, just hung out for a couple of hours, slowly getting more intoxicated. At one point, Paige, who the whole weekend was expressing how disappointed she was that she didn't get to meet Gavin, because she has kind of a crush on Gavin, I took a picture of her and I sent out a tweet with the hashtag RTX 2013 with her picture saying, she's so disappointed that she didn't get to meet Gavin. Now, the reason why that's relevant is because afterward we went back to the billiard hall to kill some time, and on the second floor of the billiard hall, they were having a charity event that was closed off to anyone who didn't have a pass. So I tried to go upstairs, and they were like, oh, I'm sorry, you can't come up. We only let people in with passes. Okay, fine. Then Peyton tried to go upstairs, and they were like, sorry, you need a pass to get in. Okay, fine. Paige tried to go up, and they say, sorry, you can't come up here without a pass. Gavin is not up here. Which either that's a major coincidence, or someone's been checking Twitter. And naturally, one side decided to go back to the hotel. That's when all the fun stuff happens without me, like Peyton meeting Jack, and Jack talking about his tattoos. It's not fair. All the fun stuff happens when I'm not around. I think there's some type of conspiracy against me. Why? I just want to be loved. I hate you guys. The last day, not a ton really happened, to be honest. We got up real early, like 5, 6 a.m., to try and make it to the slow-mo guys filming, because they were filming something with fans early in the morning, but as per usual, a bunch of other people beat us there, so I just chose to stay in the hotel room. Peyton, however, got to watch from afar, and he did record what was happening, but we didn't actually get to participate in any way. The next thing everyone wanted to see was the Rooster Teeth podcast, which was at noon. And given how big the lines had been all weekend, we decided to get there reasonably early. There were still a ton of people. We just sat in the line. Some of us ran to CVS to get snacks. But unfortunately, I had to get to the airport, so I couldn't stay. I said my goodbyes and had to leave. And that was more or less my trip in a nutshell. I got nothing done at the actual convention. About the second day, I realized that this trip was no longer about actually seeing anything meaningful and was more about just hanging out. And in that regard, I had a ton of fun. These guys, Peyton, Mike, Dan, Paige, they were all super cool. It didn't hurt me all that much. Alcohol was consumed. It was a good time, and I would do it again. And I'm really glad that I decided to go on this trip. I just kind of wish I had gotten a little more done. I'm pretty sure everyone else actually got more stuff done than I did when I wasn't there, because they suck. I want to thank all of you for watching. I'm not sure how interesting this was to listen to. Hopefully you got a little something out of it, but if not, then I'm sorry. I'll see you next time.